Yeah, but there are times it's like there's some people say you're Babu. It's like I'm not. You're lying.
You're lying.
Dude.
How?
Dude.
It's about to go mental.
Listen.
1 2 1 2. Welcome to the Skratcher Podcast. Right now we got LJ2, Gumbeaux, Tecumseh, and my homie PJilla. And of course, man, we're blessed to have this hero on today. A heavyweight in the turntablist scene. A hero to all of us here. Beat Junkie's OG, California native, hip-hop legend, DJ Rhettmatic.
Man, the check's in the mail, so I'm kind of broke, but hopefully it is. Like, I don't know. I mean, that should be going to D. I saw that you had D on your guys's. I saw on your social medias that you had him on as a guest on your show. So,
D has been clutch for Skratcher, the community. He's always been there since the jump for us, always supporting, and we love that dude. And forever, and
I love him too, but he's Sneaky D. So watch out for that guy. That's my nickname for him.
Nickname for him?
Okay.
Well, my original nickname for him was he was like I used to call him. Damn, I even forgot what I used to call him. But he was you know how when he teaches scratches, he's a professor. Like so. I mean, I don't even know if you guys know a lot. It's because of D that really he taught us how to do the flare. That's so he was. I remember seeing Q and Disc showing me the flare. They were in my garage and they're like, "Oh, you do da." But D broke it down to literally know how to broke it down to we understand it. So, I for me personally, I give the credit to D that helped brought the flare scratch to LA.
Okay.
So,
no shit.
Right. So in some ways, like I would say Havoc was the first one that kind of got it down, but Mello pretty much mastered it, and then eventually, I mean, as time went on and when we met Babs and and I used to say that the trifecta, I mean, if you guys heard Babu's Comprehension mixtape, you see there's a song, there's a joint called, well, not joint, but it's a part called Turntablism. It's basically Mello, Babs, and D. So they're like the trifecta for me personally. I think the trifecta of the scratches at the time. They're the heavyweight scratchers in terms of the Junkies. I would say,
Definitely.
You're one of them though.
Yeah, I suck.
Bro.
I don't know why you actually. I mean, even though it's called Scratchers, I don't know why you guys put me on there because I joke around. I joke around like I still can't do. I'm trying to figure out for the last 4 or 5 years how to do the oh fuck.
Better not be prisms, man. That's what we've been talking about.
No, not even the prisms. The Audubon and what's the one? The Audubon and I mean, I'm even lost in names because there's the boomerang.
Yeah, boomerang. Aquaman's boomerang.
Boomerang. Really, the boomerang. D was trying to teach me for the longest time. He taught me, but my hands can't I can't for whatever reason like the flare scratch
that's a tough cut.
I mean, you got to have real hand. Man. So you have to have hand control and stuff. And I learned this from D in terms of I kind of cheat in terms of I turn off the platter and so I can do the movements better. He would tell me you got to really push down and stuff, and I got my hands can't do that. And then of course they're whatever reason, I know it's like a mirror. You got to do two forwards, whatever, tear two forwards like that. And then it's the if you do. I've been used to doing the original flare, so to even break that thing is I would get it, but yet I notice you have to be consistent, and it's at this particular point in my life, I'm like, I don't have the patience.
No, 100%, yo.
So,
no, straight up, yeah.
So,
PJ
yeah.
said something about that one that like helped me with that one is he kept saying say the syllable. PJ, he said he goes say Pikachu, like the how the haters Pikachu, Pikachu, and I was like Pikachu 1 2 3 1 whatever, but it's that somehow that clicked.
Yeah, you got to catch them all, right?
I mean that's the thing. It's like I can go forwards, but my backwards. Like I can do like me. So it would like, but see, I would do it. I have to do it slow because and then try to. And then when you get, I know when you do it faster, the increments are more shorter, and that's when I can't catch it. Like and I know you have to be consistent, forward, back, forward, back. Like a mirror. And stuff. And my hand has its own mind and stuff, so it starts doing some other things, and then just like forget it. I just bail out. That's it.
That's my problem too. I can't keep it consistent either. Like I have the problem on the way back. I can do it on the forward and hella slow, but on the way back I get like all like twisted and stuff.
So D was like, yeah, that's it. Wait. Yeah. If you do this, I was like, sorry, D, I can't.
Hey, OG, let me ask you a question. Would you say that's how you learn? Like you learn the patterns slow and then you speed them up as you go? It's just like sense the consistency. So when you're learning it, are you doing it slow and then learning to speed it up as well? That's how I learn. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I mean, that's in some ways that's kind of like, again, the same thing how like when D showed us the flare scratch and stuff. And I would say I was probably one of the last people that kind of got it down and shit. Like, like Mello, like I said, Havoc kind of learned it. Then Mello, Babs, when we met Babs, he was catching it.
Was he flaring?
He was flaring. He was kind of flaring a little bit, But then like when Babs started connecting with us, same. It's like when you start connecting with people. And you surrounded yourself with people that are as good or better than you become better. You eventually
definitely 100%.
Hell yeah. So like even Baz would, if you ever talk to Baz about it, he'll say the same thing. Once he got gotten with the crew, is like it pushed him 10 times harder. It's just the same thing. Same thing like when Short. Same thing with Short, like showing some stuff, or we showed them, or it's interesting. But when you have like-minded people and you push each other to be good and shit like that. So
yeah, like if one's elevating, everyone's just gonna elevate with them too, right?
Elevate with them.
Yeah. So but speaking of,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, but it's interesting because we all push each other, but we all played our strengths and stuff like that. So some of us are obviously better scratchers, others are better jugglers, others are just like whether it be just on Beat Junkie style of mixing, trick mixing, whatever, or just overall, and that's the beauty of the Junkies. Like at least the majority of us is like we know you can interchange us, whether we're freestyling or if we put a set together, we all know we know each other's strengths and we build upon it and shit like that. So it pushes us, yeah.
And that's why the Beat Junkies, in I think in a lot of people's opinion, is like the undisputed DJ crew in the world. Like there's no one.
I don't know. Everybody be saying, pickles.
Yeah, but like, like when during my come up, I was always watching you guys. You guys were like my biggest heroes because I was into
checks in the mail.
I wasn't into.
Trademark.
But straight up though, like I think everyone wanted to be the Beat Junkies. Like I even bought like the Green Lantern shirt just for the hell of it, just to I just loved you guys. But speaking of the crew, like. Yeah, I've been wanting to ask this question. So, did all y'all get like actually the Green Lantern rings when you first, signed up or crewed up?
Yeah. So I mean, it's been in interviews. I said this many times. Jay's. If you interview Jay's not the most. I won't say articulate. He's not the most when he does interviews. He doesn't say like very. He won't go in more details. He just say, "Yo, da, right?" So, but for I'll say this from my recollection is that you know, Jay started the crew, and you know, he worked at a comic book shop. And so, and he had, you know, in the comic shop, they were having these giving. I don't know if it was giving away, but he was able to get a bag full of glow in the dark Green Lantern rings. And so, like, you know, and so he, like, when he started, he said he wanted to start a crew. He wants a crew, and it's called the Beat Junkies. He actually gave us the rings, and this is something that. You know, we always kind of like, oh yeah, everyone that got in the crew got rings, but a lot of people didn't know also too is like that we had other homies that weren't DJs that got the rings too and stuff. But right, but eventually it got down more just like, you know, just like you know, us DJing, hanging out and shit like that, and you know, at the time too, you got to think also. DJing, quote unquote, was kind of played out at the time. Around, like, say, by after 89, 90, 91, there was, like, kind of like a lull of, like, DJing, you know, like, people didn't want to be DJ. They either want to be a dancer or be a rapper or just, you know, or just they thought DJing was played out, you know, after, like, say, Aladdin, right? And then eventually, you know, for us in LA, you know, the KD Mixmasters, you know, were a big influence on us because there's a station called 1580 AM KDAY, which is technically is like the first 24-hour rap station in LA and stuff, right? So they're basically, and everyone that was on there was basically Dr. Dre, Tony G, DJ Bobcat, Julio G, eventually Joe Cooley, Aladdin. You know, it was like super all stars. I mean, before even the K-Day Mixmasters was Uncle Jam's Army, which is Egyptian Lover.
Whoa.
You know, so Uncle Jam's Army would you be equivalent of, like, say, you know, the big mobile DJ dance promotion crews, right? So they were the first ones to help bring, like, Run DMC, LL Cool J, along with doing parties. They were doing dance parties at the LA Sports Arena. That, you know, that's a big thing. So, you know, there's Uncle Jam's Army, of course. There's World Class Wrecking Crew. And then when K-Day came on it, you know, came in the scene and stuff, and then, you know, they a lot of people, you know, at one point Dre was DJ on K-Day. Uncle Jam's Army at one point was on K-Day, and then eventually came the K-Day Mixmasters, which is also kind of like, you got, like, again, I don't know if I can name all of them by heart, but I would say it's an all-star. So in some ways, the Junkies are kind of like the K-Day Mixmasters were kind of like a blueprint to the Junkies in some ways. So you had Tony G, Julio G, Jam and Gemini, Joe Cooley, DJ M-Walk, who DJ for Tone Loc, Ralph M from Funk Dubious, DJ Traysky, rest in peace, Henji from the New York City Spin Masters, which is him and Evil E. Evil E's Ice-T's DJ. Battle Cat. Was it DJ Romeo? So yeah, it was like an all-star. Yeah. So did I say Aladdin? Yeah, Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin.
Yeah. So Aladdin, Joe Cooley. Yeah. So there was you know, quite a few, but those were like, yeah, you would hear them on the radio and stuff like that. So
you mentioned about other guys had rings. What do you mean, like, were they like the homies? Dancers?
Yeah, I wouldn't say dancers. Yeah, well, I mean, they were homies. Like some of them were Jay's homies, you know, which ironically. So if you guys did follow us, you would see, or assume some of our artworks, you would see this CA logo, which is
CA
short,
all day.
Yeah. CA all day. So that was CA was short for us for his Chronic Avengers. So I like to call it I like to call it the blunt division of the Beat Junkies, because
Okay.
That's dope. That's dope.
so because what would happen? So really, it's interesting because it became a catchphrase over here, and and so whenever we're at a party or something like that, right? So it's like, yo, man, we need to smoke. All right, CA, and then the homies here that go all day, and then we figure out each other. And then
that's where it started.
it first kind of started on that, and then that's what that's how we get the call. It's like it's time to chief and shit like that, and then eventually. So then eventually, as we do, of course, when you start doing shows and stuff like that, we go CA, and if we're on stage, we go CA, and the homies in the crowd like all day, and then it just kind of catched on and shit. So that's where where CA all day came from. Of course, you could use it as CA California,
Yeah,
but
that's
in
what
reality,
I thought it was.
right? But reality, CA was Chronic Avengers.
And was that a Akil? That was the artist, AK?
Yeah, Akil. So Akil,
Yeah.
So Akil's like one of the homies that got the rings, and
Nice.
was so like the Junkies were like some of us were in different mobile groups,
That's
DJ
dope.
crews, right? Jay didn't really have his own mobile DJ crew or anything like that, but he had he was DJ with a couple of people and stuff, but he had he had his we had the homies and shit, so some of the CA guys were rolling with him, and that's how we met, at the time.
Okay.
So
Did Jay start the whole trick mixing style?
Jay will say this. He just calls it. Well, it's interesting. So I mean, we at the time we just call it just DJing, right? The trick mixing. The trick mixing came from the term was it was kind of funny was when ScratchCon came about, like when they were like and when they right, and we were like trick mixing. What the heck? So it's like, okay, I guess it's trick mixing. So at the time, so we said, if they're gonna call it trick mixing, fuck it, we'll call it the Beat Junkie style of mixing.
Yeah, that's how I heard it from ScratchCon, man.
That's what I like, man. It's more flavor.
So I mean, really, trick mixing is what we just call it. We didn't know there was no terms for it. We just called it DJing, But when they put it on the ScratchCon and says trick mixing, we're like, we're all.
Is that a prerequisite for all of you guys? I swear to God, man. All of you guys can do it, man.
All y'all.
Nah, I mean. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's DJing and stuff. That's just a lot of this stuff. If you really, a lot of it, if you think about it, from juggling to scratching and all that stuff, it's just DJing. That I got to credit. You got to credit Q for
break it down right there.
For putting all the terms for scratching, because after transforming, there wasn't anything where. Well, that's a 2 forward, 3 back, blah blah blah.
Right.
So I mean, you got to credit to like Q. I would say because when hanging out with Q and Mike. So and this is the thing too. So I met. So a lot of people might not know this. I was part of Rocksteady crew, but the LA chapter, and then at the time,
sick.
At the time, like how to become Rocksteady. It was like of course, they were Rocksteady DJs, and that's how I met Q and Mike. They literally just won the Worlds. Obviously, there was a big thing when Crazy Legs started. Had a big meeting in LA at the hip hop shop that used to be on Melrose, right across from Melrose High School. And everybody came out, and then they came down too. So I mean, there was of course, Frisco chapter, and then there was the LA chapter, and then there was Diego chapter. So you guys being that, you said Cutfather, so rest in peace to Maus Cutfather. Cutfather was also, he was Rocksteady Zulu San Diego. Yeah. So, so they're different, all the chapters. So, and I remember, talking when I finally met them and shit, and it was kind of funny at the time. I don't know if they had, they were doing that, but it was almost like if you would join Rocksteady, you had to battle people in the members. So it was like for DJs, it was like you had to battle, you got to go battle Q. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Shit like that. Like
you guys jump you in the crew, man.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, but the interesting part. So another thing too. So one of my best friends also like like crew came up to get together. Rich One from NASA Crew, which is also my graffiti crew and shit like that. A lot of people. So Rich One did the cover of the Battle Breaks. The first battle, Q's that covered the DJ. That's Rich One. So also people who don't know, Rich One made the logo for the Beat Junkies, and he did the artwork for the Super Duck Breaks and Super Duper Duck Breaks, right? And then he did a lot of our mixtape covers. He did Beat Junkies Volume 1, Volume 2. I want to say he did Volume 3. He did all he did all our
classics, by the way.
All hits.
Yeah, I mean, shit. He did Mello's Gambling Pete's artwork.
Yeah.
So man. So that's a little history right there. So yeah, Rich did. So Rich was also part of Rocksteady. J-Rock was also part of Rocksteady too at 1.2. But eventually, then that's how, for me personally, that's how I got to really Q and Mike and Apollo and shit like that. So through Rocksteady, and that's how I was lucky to get the test pressings for what was the second break record?
Toasted Marshmallow?
No. It's the one they use for
needle thrashers.
No.
Thrashers?
It's the one they use for the when they Mike and Q won the
backsliding turkey cuts?
No.
It's not backsliding.
It's hella older than that.
It's
Bionic
I think it's Bionic Breaks.
Bionic Booger Breaks.
Oh
yeah.
Bionic
So
Booger
Q
Breaks.
Q gave me the test pressing for that. So and he gave me the test pressing of the Battle Breaks. Because if you look at the artwork of Battle Breaks, you'll see they shout me out and shit like that. So nice. That's how old I am.
That's the year that they competed together, right? Like Q and Mike competed together that year. Right?
Well, obviously the Battle Breaks was Q, Mike, and Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a combination. Obviously, all the stuff that they use from the battle, they were. If you watch when they with the Dream, not the Dream Team, but Rocksteady DJs, they didn't have even the battle. They didn't have the Battle Breaks, but they put all the Battle Breaks, all this stuff on that record, and then eventually got the. Then they made it. If I remember correctly, they made the test pressings for Bionic Booger Breaks for the Dream Team.
Oh shoot!
Right, shit.
And that's that's when Q and Mike performed together at the DMC.
Yeah. So and then I mean, I'm sure D said this, but a lot of people might not know. Maybe only the scratch heads and stuff like that, or the hardcore DJs. But a lot of people don't know that D and Short were junkies before the Pickles were informed.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there was even part two. There was a part where they weren't even called the Pickles; they were called the Turntable Dragons.
Whoa.
Oh.
I remember. Well, there was
I've
a part.
Heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the funniest part. This is crazy. This is the funniest part. I remember this. This is like. No, well, that makes sense. That was. I would say that was Q and Mike. They were called Turntable Dragons.
Cool.
So, but then when how we found about the change of the Scratch Pickles. So we used to do this. We used to do a radio show called the Beat Junkie Hours. Where we did it was one of those you pay to play whatever, one of those things. And so we had an 800 number and shit. So sometimes D and Short would come down. So it's 96.7 FM. There might be some stuff up there, on the internet. You can hear some audio of the show. But I remember it's like one time with D and Short were in town. They came to they were hanging out at the show. And so, and then Disc called up. Like the owner, hey, we got Disc up there from the Turntable Dragons and shit like that. And this is kind of technically, eventually, Short. This is the time of Short. So, if you've seen the Bomb Showcase, where they just won, where Mike and Q just won the DMC Worlds, they just got back. This is during this thing called the Gavin Convention in San Francisco. So Gavin Convention is a magazine, college magazine that did radio college radio stuff, right? And they used to throw this event. It's almost like the Bay Area version of the music seminar. There was like, like a lot of artists came through, did showcases. So there was this thing, if you guys know about the Bomb magazine. So Bomb magazine is the one that guys put out the Return of the DJs, right? Right. So shout out to Dave Paul and stuff. So they would do this big showcase all the time in the Gavin the Bomb magazine. And this is one of the showcases when Mike and Q just got back and performing, and then they asked Short to go to if you watch it, he's doing Eric B as president. I was with them. Short was like, yo, Q and Mike asked me to go open up and do a jungle set for them. I was like, shit, let's go, let's roll, let me roll with you and shit like that. So that was like the time like Q, the Short wasn't, they started kind of bring Short along, even though he would, like that. Because I want to say that, and the time that he won, when Short won the was it the 93? Either 93 or 94 Def Jam battle that was in Frisco. Did you see? There's a video up there. It was like, you see Short, he had to go against Positively Red. And it was crazy because when Short went on, you see Q, Mike, and Apollo and all of them behind him and shit, and Positively Red's right here. It's the battle too that did you see? It's like one of the only battles you see on video and launch where D's battling. Okay. Oh, so D battled Ruthless. So you can I know it's up there on YouTube or something like that. So those are the times. So that's how Short eventually became part of. Well, anyway, so back to my original story. We got this gun, from Turntable. What's up, man? So man. So, oh, by the way, we're not called the Turntable Drags anymore. So what? What are you guys called? We're called the Invisible Scratch Pickles. And you hear Shortcut go, what? The fuck? Well, he didn't say what the fuck, but he was like, what? But you hear him say, what? And we're going like, huh? But you know what? If you guys like, we hanged out, if you've seen the turntable TVs, like hanging out with, like when we go up there or they come here, when we hang out, they always have these crazy jokes and shit like that. So, so it made sense. And of course, you hear the story where it was like, I guess it was Mike and Disc or Mike and Q. They say visible pickles, then we can have Scratch and shit. And it makes sense. It made sense when they would make something crazy stupid like that. I wouldn't say stupid, right? Yeah. I want to, don't quote me on this. I want to say Pilo or Apollo didn't want that name and shit, but
Oh, hey, OG, building off of that, like, how did you all get to Rocksteady and Zulu? Like, were there already chapters in that area, or were y'all building them up at the time?
Well, I mean, there was Rocksteady, I guess, LA. So shouts to Zulu Gremlin. He was like
Gremlin,
yeah. So he was like the chapter leader. So, and obviously, I can only say for LA though at the time, it was like, okay, obviously Zulu Gremlin, Easy Rock, Rock Ira Science from Dilated Peoples. That's how I knew. That's how I met. Right. I met Rock and Ev before even Babs was in the crew. Like they were known as the Fatliners because they were both graph writers and shit like that. Right. So right. There was the Supernaturals turned into name their Project Gill Brothers. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Project Gill Brothers. So G Wiz, shout out to my man G Wiz too. Also, he was close to Q, and this is where like I started finding out like he obviously got his tapes from Q, and this is how we found out about the X-Men and shit like that. The X-Men, like that. We knew about Steve D, but it's like, yo, man. Of course, the underground videotapes was like, you know, there was obviously the official DMC tapes, but Q would always get the underground tapes and shit. So, and you know, Short says that you might have heard stories where Q was selling tapes and you know, underground tapes. And I mean, for me, well, the craziest thing, because like for me, like there was a kind of backtrack a little bit how I knew about the New York Seminar Battle. So Curse, shouts to Curse, you know, who's a OG junkie and shit like that. He was one of the few people that had like a copy of the New Seminar. Right. You got to understand. So there's this tape. It was Ice-T's footage. This is Ice-T's footage. Yeah, okay. Right, yeah. And it's a copy. Right, and so it was I don't know how he got. I mean, Ice-T Zulu. Yeah, too. But like, this is how I knew about the seminar. Especially seeing the Joe Cooley versus Cash Money battle, and this is from Ice-T's point of view, camera and shit. So, and that was like, yo, that's, you know, that was like, this is when you start hearing about all this shit like that, like, and so you would hear, that's when you start kind of like, oh, and you hear about Jazzy, like, and you start kind of going backwards, like you start hearing all this stuff, like Jazzy Jeff was in it, you know, Easy G Rockwell. But yeah, to me, that the 1987 New Seminar battle where Cash Money and Joe Cooley battle, the whole battle itself was like the cream of the crop, because you had like Easy G Rockwell, you had Mix Master Ice, you had Mr. Mix from Two Live Crew, you had Jazzy Joyce, you had yeah. Right. So there's, you know, that footage was like Jazzy Joyce. It's on the video. Jazzy Joyce versus Cash Money. Jazzy Joyce almost took out Cash Money and shit just because it's like, oh, right. So there was the battle between Joe Cooley versus Mr. Mix. You know, Mix Master Ice versus Easy G Rockwell. Easy G Rockwell's from Original Concepts, right? So Original Concepts is Dr. Dre of UMTV Raps. That's his crew and shit like that. So obviously, the Joe Cooley Cash Money was like, to me, is the ultimate DJ battle, contrast styles, East Coast versus West Coast and shit like that. So it all and it's kind of this is where, you know, seeing Cash Money, you know, like that itself was. I know I'm going off, you know, because I still need to answer you guys' question.
Oh, this is crazy. No, this is dope.
This is confirmation, man.
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. Everybody knows me.
Now you're in a room full of them.
Yeah, you're in the right place.
You know, like I'm still a student. Like I still want to learn what's going on and shit like that. So
same, brother, same.
So it's just seeing that, the contrast, you know. Of course, if you guys know, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's out there, you know, Cash Money won by 1 point and stuff. And so,
1 point.
So the interesting part, so as a guy from LA, he said, fuck that, gosh, Joe Cooley should have won. But then when you watch Cash Money, it's like, dude, oh shit. So for me, it goes back and forth, right? Damn. Because Cash had different styles. And he was, you know, like a lot of the styles that he was doing, like eventually that became the thing. I mean, in some ways, he's the one that introduced. I mean, when talking to Cash, you know, we call it a battle style, right? But it's really called a Philly style, right? So, I mean, he technically kind of introduced that, you know, that
turntable, right?
Right, because most of the time everybody was just regular, you know. And then he also obviously introduced Jeff was using, I don't know what Jeff was using. There's no video of the New Seminar battle, but I wonder what Jeff was using. But obviously Cash was using the 2200. So that, I mean, seeing that sideways and shit. So that kind of like, and he was scratching with the fader. Because from the West Coast, LA, cats were using the Newmark mixer with the toggle switch. Right. Yeah. Of course, the phone line switch. And of course, depending where you're at, if you're from the East Coast, you would think that's cheating, right? But over here, like, I mean, we were kind of like that. They were and that's why you see Joe Cooley and Aladdin and you know, everybody like Tony Tony G, and you know the cats were using. That's what we think. And then of course they had the new Mark mixer. The short one that Aladdin was 1150, but then you had there's the 1850, the 1650, the long one. That Joe Cooley was using that, and you see Joe Cooley just killing it with that, you know. So right. Yeah. So, but just seeing Cash introducing certain things, but then you see Joe doing some certain things. So again, depending on how you look at it, opinion wise, some people say Cash Money should have won. Joe Cooley should have won. But what I've also heard too, also from behind the scenes over the years and shit, like, I might get shitted on for this.
Run, talk your shit, brother.
No. Yeah, but what I understand, like Lady B, who was one of the judges, she's a Philly DJ, and she voted for Cash, whatever like that. So I heard, and Flavor Flav was saying, "No, man, you know, like if you watch the footage, you should see a lot of people thought that in the crowd in New York that Joe should have won. So it all depends again. So, but if you really think about it, that particular battle is the one that brought, you know, a lot of people never seen LA and shit, right? You know, or West Coast DJing. So, because you know they were New York, so this is the best of two styles and shit. And so that particular battle, I would say, has helped push. Really, like Joe was technical, Cash was funky. He was also technical, but it was like, you know, but it was like the precise of Joe and shit like that, you know, and the speed of Joe, which was crazy. Right.
Speaking of which, I had I put Jeff as a scratcher today on our Skratcher IG, right?
Right.
And I asked the homies, I was like, because I don't know what to put on the caption. In the caption, I wanted to put my shout out to how he's one of the OGs that created transforming and chirps, right? What did Jeff? Yeah, you know what I mean. What did Jeff? Put it out there, like make it popular. Did he make it?
Well, I mean, Jeff. So okay, I mean, again, with the Philly history and stuff. From what I even understand, well, the first time I heard Scratch transforming was on this record called "Bring the Beat Back" by Steady B. The guy that did the scratches was Grand Dragon KD. So look it up. That's the first time I heard. Shit. That's the first time officially that I hear scratching. I mean transforming, but until you know. But I didn't know it was called transforming. But that's the first time I heard transform scratch. You know. But then Jeff was the one that I would say brought. You know, when Fresh Prince Will Smith said transform. And that's when we kind of like, yeah. So that I would say Jeff really introduced it to a wider audience and shit like that.
Well, I think, wasn't Jerome calling it the bigger scratch by that point?
I don't.
Bigger.
So bigger. So here's the thing too. Everybody, the bigger. You know, can say all. You know, or so people can say the Joe Cooley scratch. Bigger. So they were doing that with the up and down fader or the phono line. So it's interesting that you would hear. It's interesting that even though in different areas certain things were already doing, because when I heard about Cash Money was obviously from the battle, then of course when it came out Ugly People Be Quiet, then of course the scratching in the funk record, you know, when he was doing his routines on with Pump Me Up with Trouble Funk. So and he was doing, oh dude, he's scratching like Joe Cooley or whatever. So there's certain things, styles were coming up, and then if you think about it, sure, I don't. Because Howie T, Hitman Howie T, right? If you listen to Bang Zoom Take It to the Moon, right? With Real Roxanne and Hitman Howie T, he was fucking doing chirps already too, kind of like that. So I don't know what you know. I have to really dig, and I could say. We didn't know it was called a chirp. We just go right. We only know it was. We didn't even know the stabs. We just called it was like, oh, dude, DST Rocket, fit fresh, right?
Right.
There was no names and stuff until Q said. Q goes like, I call that the stabs.
They call stabs now.
And I was like, all right, that makes sense, because we were like, fit. You know, we mouthed it out. We might have like, we might do like a, there's a bubble scratch. You said boogity butch. There's a thing where it was like, and like used to, when we used to have the turntables regular way, we used to kind of use your hands like this,
right?
On a scratch like that.
Right. Yeah.
And you can get that, and you still get that scribbles, that you know, like you can. So, but then eventually when you see like, obviously when Cash or you see you know Joker, and you putting their hand on the fader, they weren't doing most of this and shit, you know.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, so cute.
What was the question?
Q, I mean, Q. You know, Q was like, you know, that's how I kind of Rocksteady. Yeah, with Rocksteady. That's how I kind of, you know, got down with it and shit like that. So I mean, Rocksteady, LA Crew again. So the Project Hill Brothers, Fatliners, aka Dilate Peoples, Pre-Babu, Easy for the B-Boys, Easy Rock, Iceman, Zulu Gremlin. The DJs was me, Rob, rest in peace, Rob One, G Wiz from Project Hill Brothers. We were the three main Rocksteady LA DJs, and then eventually Jay joined up later on, and then Rich One too so Rich One was not only a graffiti artist, he was also a b-boy and a freestyle dancer. So he joined in with that too. So, and then
with that being said, are you still doing anything with the Visionaries?
Yes. So nice. So as we speak, Visionaries are working on a new project, new album. This particular, like the last album was called V.
There it is.
Dope. This is dope.
There we go, man.
Dude, ever right here.
It's already.
Yeah, so this is our newest album that we had that dropped in 2020, right when the pandemic dropped, and we didn't make an album for like in 13-14 years. So this is the first one, and this one is like I did all the production. So this time the new project is going to be all key cool. You know,
Word.
All key cool.
So,
Speaking of key cool. Wow, like I remember watching, what was it? Like it wasn't Turntable Mechanic. It was
Turntable Wizardry.
It was an old video. Turntable Wizardry with your guys' music video at the very end. I was like, damn, that's dope.
Yeah. So he, you know, there's that, and then so Key Cool. Speaking of Key Cool and myself, so this year is our 30-year anniversary of our debut album, The Cosmos.
Wow.
So we're actually gonna try to make at least an EP. So there's that.
Yeah.
Are
you educate me on something real quick?
Try.
You know the track. It goes bang, blam, blam, and your scratch sentence goes fret. And you have a scratch verse, and using fresh. It's a part of the. I don't know if it's part of the Visionaries album or mixtape volume 1, 2, or 3. One of those 3, but it's which one is it? Because I've been trying to find it all day yesterday, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were.
You had a scratch verse using fresh with a Visionary beat.
Okay. Well, if you're thinking of just, it's probably from Volume 2.
That's what
I was scratching. I was scratching over the instrumental of Blessings. I was doing fresh, right?
Okay.
Right.
I
just used that as a transition. I'm trying to think because there's another song. I mean, there was another song called "LA Fresh" that I scratched fresh because LA Fresh, whatever,
fresh
stuff. I mean, there's a couple of songs I use the fresh and all. I mean, fresh
but
and all.
it's so memorable. I can rephrase that whole verse.
Oh, thanks.
When I listen to it, I rewind it, fast forward it, just to that spot. You know what I mean? Just to
you don't have to. You don't. Hey, man, I'm broke already, man. How many checks do I need to send over? And
That's how you know we real fans.
Yeah, bro. Hey, Rhett, since you were talking about like the whole battle history of like just watching Cash Money and Short and everyone else, but how about you? Like, did you battle? You battled, obviously. I've seen you in the ITFs and so on, but like, What was like your first jump off battle?
So this is interesting. I talked about it kind of times, but yeah, my first battle was called Unfadable. And ironically, this is how I met Short. So rewind it to. So we're using point like Rocksteady, right? So there's a time when like the New York seminar, and of course, like there was a time like J Rock, Rich One, myself, and a couple other people. We took a Greyhound bus to go to New York to go to the Rocksteady anniversary New seminar. And shit, so, right,
That's a long trip,
That's
man.
a long trip.
dude, 2.5 days there, 2.5 days back. But hey, at the time we were on a mission. We're like, fuck it.
That's
right. You know, we gotta go. You know, like that. So, I want to say, yeah, this is where I guess when I went to this, I was able to get a pass because at the time when even though I was Rocksteady, I was doing this thing for, was it the hip hop 411? So I want to say it was Big Boy's thing. Big Boy used to do so Big Boy is, if you guys don't know, is a big on-air radio personality.
Right.
In LA, right?
Mhm.
But he used to be also one of the bodyguards for the Far Side back in the days and shit. So
Really?
Sick.
So he's also he rapped. If you listen to Log Cabin California, he's on there rapping.
No way, he's on that album?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Let me Google this shit.
He's not even Big Boy anymore, though.
I know, but I mean, yeah.
Him and Dre had a radio show for a long time, didn't they? Big Boy and Dre, right?
No,
Dre as in,
no.
Big
The
Boy-
on-air personality. Yeah, didn't Big Boy and Dre have a radio show?
Dre. You're not talking about Dr. Dre or
No. Andre.
Dre?
It was Big Boy and Dre. Hold on.
No, you're thinking of Dre and Ed Lover?
Yeah, you're thinking about Dr. Dre and Ed Lover. Probably.
I thought Big Boy was on the radio with Dre. It's all good.
I think Big Boy was on his own. Like he was always on his own as a on-air personality. Yeah.
That's
Damn.
like Log Cabin Cali.
What track was
sorry,
he
yeah.
on?
I'm
We're all
Googling
looking
it
on
right
our phones.
Let's go.
Let's see. Let's see. Hold it. There's a track list.
Usually we got a guy doing this, but he's not here today.
Yeah, it's on.
Shouts out to
It's a
Jovie.
joint. It's track number 14. The joint's called The Hustle.
The Hustle.
Oh, yep.
Oh, I gotta check this out.
Speaking of,
I love that album too.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
dope.
and
Love
speaking of that album,
Yeah, so-
it's all Dilla, right? And it's like, what was
Not
your
all Dilla,
experiences with
it's-
Dilla like?
Well, should I still talk about the last thing, or should I talk about this?
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
So, okay, so we were talking about my battles. All right, so
Yeah,
my
you're right.
first, right, so so I was doing something for for his. I would call. He was able to get me a pass to go to New York seminar, so I'd have to call in today. Like if you call the number, it's like one of those hotlines. You like, oh, today's da 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 da, like the stories and shit or whatever the news
Like the
use,
horoscopes. Yeah.
So I would call in like, oh, I'm live at New York seminar. This is what's going on. Blah 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 blah. So I got to go see the battle. By this time, was it 93, 94? Oh yeah, 93 because 94 is the last time. This is the last seminar battle. So 93 was one 8-ball one, right? So and I remember this too. It's funny. It's like so. I got to watch. This is by the time Clark Kent is throwing the battle. He took over the battle and shit like that. And so who was coming in? Coming from Japan, we got GM Yoshi, right?
Oh shoot. Yeah.
All the way coming from the Philippines, DJ Shortcut. Philippines? That's how it was like short. It was like what? Philippines? I was like what? And and it's crazy because Q's on. Q's is on the he's one of the judges. Him, Scratch, Richie Rich. But I just remember like Philippines like that. And Short was like he got eliminated first round because needles were skipping on him and shit like that.
Oh,
so
shoot.
obviously,
Happened.
then he made his in '94. He redeemed himself, and then obviously he battled Noise and shit like that. But I remember that's like Philippines. What the heck? Shit like that.
Yeah.
So few months later, I entered the battle because how you is when you're young, you're talking all that shit. It's like, man, that shit's whack. But then I've always kind of like, who am I to talk shit about someone that's entering a battle if I haven't entered a battle before?
Right. Okay.
So
Right.
so that kind of like, you know what? Let me enter this the local battle kind of per se. It's called Unfadable, and it was held at Glam Slam Princess Club.
Okay.
And ironically, in this battle, Jay was in it. DJ Fatbox, rest in peace. He was Coolio's DJ.
Oh wow.
Vicious Lee, this cat named Sweet Pea, myself, and Short. Now, what's interesting is like I was going there for sound check. I'm going there, and then this airport van just gets in front of the Glam Slam. Out jumps Short, and this guy named D Jam Hassan, that's also a local Bay Area legend, stuff like that. They both came out, and I was like, "Fuck, that's you!" Like I was like, "You're Shortcut." I was like, seminar
From the Philippines.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Are you from the Philippines? Oh, I just said that. I'm really from Daly City.
You got it. Oh my god. That sounds like Short.
Dude, I was like, I was like, what?
Good.
So that's how I met Short. And then
That's crazy.
we kind of kicked it,
Yeah.
So the interesting thing, the one of the grand prizes was the first and second winners, second place, get to spin on Friday Night Flavors with the Baker Boys. This is when the Baker Boys just moved to LA and got on Power, and they started Friday Night Flavors and shit like that. So we kept in contact and stuff. It was interesting too, because when Jay was in the battle, but he got sabotaged with the Light Man and shit like that. So,
What?
He got in an argument with the Light Man. So when he was getting his routine, he was killing it. He was doing Lords and Undergrounds, Chief Rocker. What the fuck?
Chief
What the
Rocker?
fuck? And then the lights were going on, and he fucked him up and shit. So he didn't place, right? So eventually, I'm I'm not mad that I lost to Short. So he won first, I won second, and shit like that. So that was my first battle and shit.
That's cool. First battle.
So fast forward next month, he came down again to so we can both go on Power, and he said, "Hey, I'm bringing my friend down," and that person that he brought down was D Styles. So the craziest thing, so I knew about D because my college, when I used to go to college and shit like that, I tried to go to college. I had a friend that grew up here, but he also was living in I think in San Jose area, whatever, and Fremont, and he was told, "Yo, you need to, my boy David Casito and shit like that." I was like, "Oh," and then he used to show up tapes, and then and of course, and then I found out his name was obviously D Styles, and then he had a record out with what's his name from KML. They both put out. It was one of his first break records. They had a long tone like D put out. So what, man? Glenn Ari, I'm fucking up his name, but he used to be a KML DJ, and him and D, he put out a record together. One side would be like mixes and beats, other side it was D. Then he had a long tone in there like that. So. Right, crazy. And then I found out that D, like I had a family friend that lived in San Jose, and I was like, dude, I wonder if he knows, like that. So when I met D, is like, yo man, it's like I heard so much, I've seen your tapes, or my friend was showing your videotape, blah 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 blah. He said, oh yeah. And I go, hey man, do you know so and so? So I was telling my family friend's name, and says like, oh yeah, that's my cousin, blah blah. You know, Filipinos, this is my
Oh,
cousin.
what? Yeah, everyone's fine.
So he was like, oh shit, you know. So we kind of like, you know,
Wow.
so you know, so we bonded off of that. So D, that's how I met D, and then eventually.
That's crazy.
D and Short, you know, so D and Short would stay at my place and stuff. So they would come down and stay at my place every time they come to LA and stuff. And that's how I started. And I would start bringing D and Short around to meet the guys and shit like that. You know.
Yeah.
And there's a video. And Curse, I want to say Curse put it up in this thing. We're in. So this is a thing too. A lot of people might not know. Rectangle was also for a hot minute was a Beat Junkie.
Was
Oh
he?
shit!
Yeah.
For a
Damn.
hot minute.
Right.
Okay.
So and I was saying, remember I said that guy, I said Sweet Pea, right? He was in that.
Yeah.
He was in that battle. He was also one time. He was also a Beat Junkie for a hot minute. So
No shit.
Sweet Pea was also known as what is his producer's name? Paul Pauly. There you go. He produced Joints and Jams. Black
Oh,
Eyed
sick.
Peas.
Black Eyed Peas.
Okay.
Yeah. So those two were like, they were Beat Junkie.
Right? Rectangle was a junkie, man?
So you guys got, if you got Rectangle's records, there's a white record, right? There's whatever's battle
Yeah.
weapon. If you listen to it, there's a part that goes, "Who is the best? The Beat Junkies. Who cruise number one? Beat Junkies." It's on that record.
Oh.
So and that was it. So if you listen, that's Jay and Kirsch on the saying that thing. So yeah, he was.
Oh shit!
Yo, that's
That's
dope.
crazy.
Crazy, man.
So
Never knew.
so yeah. So anyways, so
Shout
that's
out
how.
Rectangle.
Yeah.
So talking about the video. So there's a video where Kirsch's garage, and I used to you know, because like Kirsch wasn't at the battle, but he was like, "Did you win?" He's like, "Nah, dude, I didn't win." But Shortcut is the one's like, "Who's this Shortcut?" And then, you know, of course, he knew I was in Rocksteady, so like he heard about the flare scratch. What's this flare scratch and shit, right? I was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is some new shit, dude. You know, like, is that transforming? He's like, it's not transforming,
No.
right? So I took D and Short to Curse's garage and shit. And who was in there? It was Curse, Havoc, Rectangle, D Short, myself. Curse was videotaping this shit, and he's first we videotaped Short, and he's tripping out him beat juggling and shit like that. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, I told you. But it was like, but dude, I go, no, you gotta see what D does. So when D does the flare scratch, you see the camera, it just like it drops, and you hear it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, and I was like, I'm telling you guys. It was right. And it was funny because Jay talks about this, and I think he said this on the Road podcast and shit like that. Like he's like, I don't want no, because he says I didn't know how D and Short got in. It's like, because of Rhett. Oh, we gotta blame Rhett for that and shit like that. So because he says I don't want nobody else in the crew, and it's like that. No. That's like, then he saw them, he met them, he hang out, got a well, and says, all right, they're in crew and shit. It's the same thing.
God.
Why? Who's Babu? Next, you know, they smoking and shit, and they're like, "All right," shit like that. And then Chalk's the last member. Mr. Chalk is the last member who became last member of the Beat Junkies and shit. You know.
I was gonna ask you that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We also, you know, same thing. It's like, nah, man, because same thing. Chalk would always like when Chalk moved down, when him and C minus, they were called the Roughnecks. They're also from Bakersfield, so they grew up with the Baker Boys and shit like that. So when they moved down and stuff, they were kind of like the next generation. I'm gonna say next generation. There's the Baker Boys and then there's the Roughnecks and stuff like that. So when they started coming down to LA, they were trying to get into Power on the 6-2 as well. Met them through the Ghetto Baby record pool, which is Baker Boys' older brothers, Frank V's record pool. Rest in peace to him and stuff. So that's how I met them and stuff, and then you know, and we were talking about practicing and shit. Like, so I would go to their hotel room at the time where they were staying at, and I show Chalk and see some shit like, oh, what? And Chalk was like, oh, I need to get down with you. I need to get down. I was like, well, you know, whatever. And then they got to a point where Jay's like, man, we don't need no other people and shit like that. And then, I mean, eventually he got down because, you know, they got along. I know. I mean, of course we cracked jokes. It was like, man, I need another black guy. I got too many Filipinos in here. right? And you go like, well, you go, Melo's Mexican. He's Filipino. He got a Filipino girlfriend and shit. So,
All right, hey, yo, OG, are the books closed on the crew? Is it done? Books closed?
I mean, for the most part, yeah. I mean, only person who could say yay and nay is Jay. That's it. I mean, sure. I mean, we can talk about it as amongst ourselves, but for me, I say ultimate, he has the ultimate decision.
Is Kenny honorary flip flop? Kenny flip flop.
I like to say yes. He's honorary in many ways.
Kenny.
I mean, because he teaches at our school. He's I wouldn't say, I don't know if he's official, until Jay gives a stamp, but I mean, he's crew. We like to say he's crew. He's like honorary in many ways, like him and Analog, DJ Analog, who's also so, but yeah, Kenny, man, he's
monster, man.
He's a beast.
Dude, Flop
Yeah,
is fucking, dude,
he's nice.
He's hell, I'd be like, hey, Flop, do that again.
Yo, speaking of wrapping back to that Far Side stuff, is Buckwheat a Beat Junkie?
No, so that's another thing. It was crazy. So the Far Side had their little crew. That if you ain't a Beat Junkie, that's you say shit. They had a thing, and their publishing was a Beat Junkie J, like that. But I think after we just started, just kind of. They just like, fuck it, let them have it. And shit. I mean, I heard that at one point they were mad at us. But if you really know who the original Beat Junkie is Breakbeat Lou.
Wow.
The reason why I say that, if you look at the Ultimate Breaks and Beats, you would see edits. His real name is Luis Flores. It'll say Luis Flores for Beat Junkie. He spelled it JUNKYE or something like he spelled it Beat Junkie Production. So technically,
he's the OG Beat Junkie.
Yeah, right there. But he says like you guys are Beat Junkies and shit like that.
Since Jay was close to Dilla, was he like honorary Beat Junkie though, like J Dilla?
I don't know. I mean, what's crazy is Dilla would watch our private stash DVD and shit, right? And then if his mix, there's a picture somewhere if you find it on the web that has a picture of his mixer. If you even if you look at that, that famous picture of his home studio in LA, if you look at his mixer, you can look closely. He has Beat Junkie stickers on his mixer.
No
way.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yo.
So I mean, yeah, he loved us. I mean, I've been lucky to become that part of the inner circle in LA, inner circle in LA and stuff. But really, it's Jay, Dilla, Otis, Wolf. Of course, like B Plus, Egon, Dave New York. Like Common. He's roommates with Common and shit like that. So but I've always talked to Dilla saying like, yo man, you need scratches, I got you, dudes. Yeah, man. I mean, we talked about it. I think before he passed away and stuff like that, we talked about it. I think he was trying to get me on Shining, but didn't make it. So that's why eventually I think in hindsight he asked me to be his DJ, his tour DJ for his last show, because originally, and I said this again in many interviews, is that he was going go on the road and stuff, and he wanted and Jay is the third member of J-Lib, so he DJs for Dilla, DJs for Madlib and shit like that.
Right.
But at the time, he wanted to get Jay, but Jay was already confirmed to go with Otis, Madlib. They were supposed to do their own separate tour. And then, so he reached out to me. And, it's like, yo, man, I want you going to, come on, let's do it. And I hit up Jay, saying like, yo, man, thanks for putting in the word for Dilla to ask me. He's like, I didn't say anything. I was kind of booking out.
Shit.
Damn, dude.
So, yeah. So yeah.
earlier you mentioned about Filipinos and stuff like that. Where's your family from, Kuya?
My mom's going to kill me all the time. I fucking fuck up. My dad's Visayan, so he's from Davao.
Okay.
My mom's Tagalog, so I should go. Hey, mom, what am I've always messed up. She always tells me, yeah, and then I'm like, I'm always fucking up, and it's like, okay, but she's Tagalog.
Okay. Did you grow up in Cerritos?
So my parents came to the United States to California, or LA, I should say, in '68.
Okay.
This is where I'm dating my age now here. So I was born in Huntington Park, California, which is like East LA, and then we moved to Cerritos. So my parents, or like our family, was like one of the first Filipinos in Cerritos and stuff like that. Like,
really?
I understand. At least one. Like there were a few, but at least what I understand, like yeah,
it's all Filipino now.
Nah, it's Filipino, Korean, Chinese, Indian, right?
Okay.
But I mean, like when I came up, it was very multicultural and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
But yeah, I mean, of course, it's like a bunch of Filipinos there and stuff. But yeah, but
like I have a cousin that like every time I go down to LA, she lives in Cerritos, and we were driving around, and my cousins would say, "Oh, that's where Mello was. That's where Rhett. This is all Beat Junkies. They're all like Cerritos and shit."
Right. So yeah. I still remember like when Jollibee moved in. Like when did Jollibee? I was like, what, Jollibee? What the fuck? I mean, because we had our we had small. I mean, it was interesting. We had obviously a big Filipino community, but there was like we only had like one or two Filipino stores and stuff, and most of the time, I mean, for me, when I started hanging out with Short and D and Q and them, and going to daily, I had a fucking culture shock because I see Filipinos, but I was like, yo, what the fuck?
It's
like, when
Philippines.
When they took me to Ceremony Mall and shit, and I was like,
oh hell yeah!
I was tripping out when they like. The fuck, they got a Goldilocks in a fucking food court.
Yo,
I was like,
yeah, that was
we had a Goldilocks in Cerritos, but there's like, but that was like in a mall. I was like, what the heck? And then I go back.
Sorry, last DMCs or the DMC Worlds. That was my first time going to Daly City, right? Okay. And yeah, like we went to Ceremony Mall, and I was like, this is where all the pickle videos were at, and blah blah blah. And then you see all the stalls Filipino related.
Well, I haven't been to Ceremony Mall on ages, but I just remember the beginning. Like one of the early shows for D and Short, as Junkies, they perform at some Filipino Fiesta Islands at Cow Palace. And shit. So I remember there's a video out there. They did a 2-man 3 turntable routine was fucking was incredible and shit like that, dude. It was I want to say there's a video out there of it too. You just gotta because if you see me, I introduced them and shit like that. Tommy Gunn was with us too as well.
I see. That's dope.
But yeah, and I would tell them that if they were to enter DMCs, they could have fucked people up with that 2-man 3 turntable routine, dude. It was.
There's got to be footage around there somewhere. Yeah,
there is. No? Hold on, can we?
Go ahead. I gotta see it. Google. Yeah. But yo, speaking of Ceremony Mall, like, did you go to? There's a casino out there called Lucky's.
Oh yeah, They took me Lucky Chances.
Lucky Chances.
Come on.
That's straight up Philippines, man.
No, let me I was tripping out because obviously the after hour spot is like, yo, they're selling Tapsilog here at this time.
Yeah, Tapsilog, exactly.
Let's go.
You gotta get it, man.
Dope. It's so good, dude. No, I felt like I was at home, man.
Dude. Yeah, so it was it was crazy. I saw forgot the name of the brand, but the fish sauce company. I was like, what?
Okay.
And I was like, are you serious?
The green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The green,
called?
I forgot what it's called and shit. So,
Is it Datu Puti?
something like that.
I don't think that's the one though.
No.
All right, but damn it. Yeah, I was trying to search. Sorry, guys.
I think it's called like.
Okay, yeah.
Or something.
Well, anyways, yeah. So there was a footage of it, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But dude, that was
Oh,
like
we're gonna look
that was like the time. This is the I guess debut as Beat Junkies in San Francisco and shit. So
Sick.
yeah, but yeah. So that was my first battle. My second battle was the 94 DMC West Coast, and that was when Babs joined the Babs and Short, first and second place. Mello was in it. I talk about this story too. We did a podcast where Babs brought it up and shit, where we were all practicing at D Styles' house at the time, and when he was living in Fremont, the night before. Of course, cats were like smoking and shit, and then D had this. He's probably like, why are you pulling me all this stuff? But the man's like, talk to him. He had this. I don't know. I think either 7 or 10 foot bong. No, he had a 7 or 10 foot bong. From Ruthless. I want to say Ruthless gave him as a birthday gift, right?
Ruthless, shouts out.
Right.
Yeah,
So we're all smoking. So here's the thing. So we're all smoking and shit. But I took bong heads before, but smaller ones, So I kind of, we're all practicing and shit. And then here's the thing: is like, guys are hitting it, and I was like, fuck it, like I'm in Frisco. We're going to took the big bong hit and shit.
Right.
An 8-foot rip, OG?
Dude. And the next I was like, hey, Babs, is the room supposed to be spinning and shit? And then, shit. Next I was like, dude, I was like knocked out. I was sweating. I was knocked. I was like, oh fuck, guys, like this, right? And the guys were laughing, and then there's like, oh shit. D was like, yo man, what are we gonna do, man? He's making noise. My parents are upstairs and shit like that. They had to take me outside to get fresh air and shit like that. Whatever. They were They were carrying me, dude. They were like, So the song Public Enemy, Uzi Wizzy Ton. Yeah. Curse was like, cursing whoever. Like, they were damn, my homie weighs a ton. They were kind of like, right? Dude. So I remember they were just saying. And then next, I crashed out on D's bed and stuff. Next, they wake me up. It's like, yo, man, let's go. It's like, what do you mean? Let's go. Gotta go to DMC. What? Dude, I didn't even get to practice.
No.
I didn't get to practice. So when I entered DMC, dude, I just blanked out. I didn't even.
Oh, this is the
DMCs
when you were high, huh?
Yeah. I wasn't high no more, but I was like, dude,
didn't practice though. Yeah.
Dude, I didn't practice. I mean, of course, that was what Babs won. Short won. Babs won second place. Mello was in it. I think this was in it. Who else was in it? I forgot who. Right.
Was that 96? Is that when D?
No, that's 90. That's not 94. West Coast
94.
DMC. Right. Okay. So before I even go forward, like, so Junkie, when there was West Coast, East Coast DMCs, so history-wise in terms, Shortcut was 94 DMC West Coast champion. Babu was 95 DMC West Coast champion, and then I was 96 DMC West Coast champion. So, but that particular battle was my second battle. and shit like that. So that was not good.
Not good.
But yeah. So I mean, if you, so we used to have a podcast, the Junkies, called Building Better DJs. So there's an episode where we talk about that shit.
Yeah.
So even fast forward, how many years after I found these fuckers, I found out they were on acid too as well.
Yes,
so we were smoking, but I didn't know they were also on acid as well and shit.
I think D Styles was talking about he ate acid and went to a DMC and he did not have a good time, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
was not
there's a
happy.
couple
He was-
of there might be a couple of times, dude, because there are times. Oh, we got. I'm not trying to put too much shit out there, but I shared about this. But I mean, Sneaky D, okay, Sneaky D.
Sneaky D.
Oh, there it is. All right, there you go. I called D. That was my other nickname. I call him the Professor of Scratch because that's my nickname.
100.
There, I remember. Yeah, Sneaky D. D, we were like, oh, man.
Sneaky D.
Try this.
Hey, try
this. Have an experience, homie. 8-foot bong rip.
I mean,
It's a lot.
now I was like, man, I got to be careful with these guys.
Have you ever rolled high?
Roll? What do you mean?
Like your jujitsu, all that, you know what I mean?
Oh no! Oh, jiu-jitsu? No. I'd probably
Because
freak out.
there's a
There's a league that
class where-
did.
yeah, they go high.
Yeah. You roll.
They roll
There's actually a competition. I forgot. I think it's called High Rollers, where you smoke and you compete and shit like that. But
That's a thing.
yeah. I know. Hey, I know my limits. I'll put it this way. So I think I talked about this too. Also, it's like for the '98 ITF World Champions, we were defending. Like we were practicing. We were practicing at the time at this place called the General Store, which was owned by Mixwell, and we used to smoke and shit like that. Of course, they had a water gravity bong,
Oh yeah.
right?
Here we go.
Man. So Mellow, Jay, like they're like, oh man, okay, I'll do it.
Oh no.
So we,
Gone.
this is like, I want to say this is like maybe the first night, because this is the crazy story about the ITF. Before I even get to that part.
Back to the battles, right?
Let's go.
Back to the battles.
Let's
anyways.
go. Let's go.
So
Have you guys ever competed sober at this point?
oh man, of course. You fuck. Hey, I'll get to that. I'll get to that, man.
Sober-ish.
Cause okay, so after we obviously, we won the '97 ITF, we had to defend our title. We try to start early, and technically we were trying to do like an ultimate thing where like it's besides us four, we were trying to get Curse and hopefully D and Short into it.
Oh wow.
But
okay.
But it just schedule wise, D and Short obviously because they're north, and then Curse event, for whatever reason, didn't end up making it. So it just ended up being us four and stuff like that.
Right.
So, so we try to do like knowing when look at the flyer. I have the poster. So it was in November. I'm looking. I actually have the ITF poster. It says November 15th. So we tried to do 2 months ahead. Try to start something. We couldn't good shit. Didn't do it. As it got closer. What are we gonna do, guys? And this is the time, obviously Scratch gossip and shit, like, like we didn't know about the turnstiles. We kind of found out about them through Turntable TV, and the same thing about Scratch perverts. Tony Vegas was, shout outs to the perverts and stuff. He was starting talking shit, about like us, and then he's gonna battle Baboon and scratching and shit. I'm gonna take out whatever, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So we were like, kind of like, we were in some ways, the pressure was on and shit for us. What the fuck we're gonna do? How are we gonna I don't know, dude. Fuck. We're all like this. So this is the craziest story. You guys might trip out on this, and
Let's go.
So we procrastinated to the last minute. So we had 4 days.
Oh my god!
Before the battle, we were like, first day. So it goes back to first night. First, we would practice over at the general store. We'd start like around maybe like 9 or 10 at night, and then maybe finish at 4 in the morning or something like that. Right. Gee. Of course, first night. Of course, we how we would always do is like we just jam, and then we figure out some things like, oh, that sounds good. Put that aside, or whatever. Of course, smoke break. So we go back to practice. Hey guys. I'm gonna take a breather. I'm gonna go outside and shit. Yeah, so I go in my truck and shit.
My homie weighs a ton.
Well, I knocked out on my truck, right? So the guys are practicing, right? I don't know. This is what they told me. They were practicing. They were practicing for a good 2-3 hours, just jamming and shit like that. And they were like, man, where's Rhett? They go outside. They saw me all like my window's down. I'm like this, like Rhett. What? Come on, we need to practice. I can't move, dude. Fuck. I coherently can kind of say like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Let's just go. Let's just go in and see what we can do. Come back and they're like, hey, Rhett. They left me there. Shit like that. I woke up, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's like, oh shit, everyone's gone. Like that. So next day, obviously, it's like, so from there, it's like, you're not smoking, Rhett. You're not, right. You're not smoking. So from then on, and of course, so second day, we had to literally do. So second day, we had to like obviously jam, get some ideas, stuff like that. All right, that sounds cool. It's kind of like this, like that. The third night is like we start putting everything together. The fourth night, whatever, is like we just got to. That's it.
Yeah, gotta get it done.
Yeah.
The next day we fly to Amsterdam.
Oh my god.
We get to Amsterdam.
Here we go.
So the hotel. What's the name of the hotel? Fuck. Dude, we used to stay there all the time. Everyone used to stay there in Amsterdam. So it'd be crazy because like we get there a couple of days and stuff like that. So the battle was Sunday. We got there on a Friday. Right. So Friday. We're like, was it Thursday or Friday? Either Thursday or Friday. We saw, so Sinister and Raider and Honda, they were the judges and stuff, and people were flying in and shit like that. But we were there in the lobby playing blackjack and smoking and shit with, we're like, whatever, right? Everybody's coming, yeah, we're like, and then, I remember like, when, cats were bringing turntables to practice and shit like that, right? And it was funny because it's like, so at the time too, also we were working at Fat Beach, so there was a Fat Beach Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
So everyone was practicing and whatever. The 2 nights we were just all night just smoking and playing blackjack or poker and shit in the lobby, right? We're playing with Ben. Vin Rock and Raider, like just cracking jokes and shit like that. And it's like, dude, guys, we should practice, huh? Yeah. So luckily, so we practiced. So we only practiced one time. Was at Fat Beats Amsterdam. You get this thing, and then while everybody was all practicing, just a couple of days they were there and shit. And then basically, so I remember I didn't. This is the first time I didn't know it was him. It was the first time I met Mr. Thing and shit. He's like, "Hey man, nice to meet you." Like everyone, we're talking. It's like, "Yeah man, we were trying to have blah 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 blah." It's like, "Oh man, like, I'm Rhett." It's like, "Oh, I'm blah blah blah, Mr. Thing, Scratch Pickles." Oh. Oh. I mean, it was really close because, ironically, it was Tony was out of all the ones was mostly talking shit, like that. But Mr. Thing was like, "Oh man, okay, nice to meet you. Well, good luck. Hey man, good luck, man. Hope man, the best man and shit like that." But in our head, like, "Fuck Tony, bro." Like, right? Of course, we don't say that shit, but right? Yeah. So when the team battles happen and shit, they were like deciding who's gonna go first and shit, and we did on some chess move. We'll go first.
Nice.
Nice. So it was us, Turnstiles, and Scratch Perverts and shit like that. But and I think a lot of people because when we performed at the DMC USA, the one that Craze one, Short was in it, and
92.
No, this is the 98.
Oh, 98.
98. Craze one, Dummy, and Short were in it, right? So yeah, so it's Craze, Short, and Dummy were first, second, and third, right? So and we did we did a show. We didn't perform. We a showcase. Yeah. Right. So everybody was basing our team routines upon that one. So that also pushed us like we can't do that. We gotta. So they expect us to do something shit like that. And of course, what you see at the 98, they were like, of course, we were just all straight, just on some funk, technical, whatever, right? Keep it, like that. And then at the end, we did that little diss. That's it. That's because we already knew they were gonna diss us, but we didn't want to come out like we're gonna on some. We wanted to show like, like
started.
Yeah, so we kind of fucked our heads up on some chess shit. Like, we'll go first.
Nice.
So that's so sorry it was long-winded.
No. I have this vision of like Tony Vegas, like, and all those guys like practicing, like.
The irony of it too. They were in Japan. They won the Vestex. They were competing in the Vestex World Championship for Extravaganza. Okay. They won the teams, and then they fly from Japan to Amsterdam. They brought their turntables, and they were practicing. They're like, yeah. They were just like,
you guys are playing fucking blackjack,
living life.
The birth of gambling.
I mean, oh dude. Mello was like he had books of poker and shit. Like he was like, we're like, oh shit. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That whole thing was like the pre chat room era too. So it was like you would hear those rumors because we hear it up here like from Ace. He was talking about how Tony was talking mad shit.
Wow. Oh yeah. He was talking. He was talking mad shit in '97.
That guy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so
you're talking about Ace. You're talking about Gio, right?
Yeah. That's who I learned to scratch from.
Fucking Gio.
Gio
is one of those type of guys. Is either you like him or you want to hit him and shit like that. Because he had that he had that personality like like at the time if you didn't really know him, you think what is asshole and shit like that.
Because like at the was it the West Coast ITF battle? He was like the host. He was just up there talking shit about stuff and comedy.
Yeah.
Yo, so what was the temperature like when did you take all the wind out of their sails to kind of wrap this up? Like you guys just chose to go first? Did you see their faces or like?
I think so because I think it's just a combination of just like just psychologically we set the bar and shit like that. Because it's like sometimes you just like instead of being the last, fuck it, go first and get it out of the
Go
way.
for
And
it.
shit.
Yeah,
Right? You know, like
strike
set
first.
set the tone.
Yeah,
You know?
strike
Yeah,
the pace. Strike first, strike hard.
Yeah.
No
So
mercy.
right. So I mean, they you know, I mean, they were doing some obviously innovative stuff. I think the difference between them and us, and even the turnstiles and stuff like that, turnstiles are even killing it too as well. I think we built what Q, Mike, and Apollo did on the 3-man, made it 4-man. So we built upon it and it made it more.
Dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you could do a 3-man, but when you had a 4-man, it made it. I think we made it more fuller, like it mounts more complete. Not saying that like them, because I mean, I don't know if you guys know, like Apollo is the architect of the team routine.
Whoa.
Him and Mike. Well, I mean,
Wow.
he was still coming with the idea, but him and Mike were like they were called TWS. You know, so before Q came in, so they had a 2-man routine of the the Peter Pipers and all that shit until Q came in and stuff like that. So
Do you remember what TWS stood for?
I want to say I didn't Twins of Spins or Turntables or I don't know.
Was it
Turntables
the Dragons?
turntable style maybe, I don't know. Like I'm either Twins of, I just can't say Twins, maybe Turntable styles, I don't know. So but there's TWS though.
Dope.
So but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's, and then from there, and it's like by that time, cats were really kind of already getting busy. Like Bella was starting to be on the radio. Babs was Dilated. J Rock was Stone's Throw. I was with Visionaries. Of course, at the same time, that's the year also that Volume 2 came out and Sound Bombing 2 came out and shit like that. So by that time, it's like we were working at Fat Beats, and so it's just like it got to a point where it's just like we can't really concentrate battling and competing. It was like that's a full-time move and shit. I mean, of course, we were we thought about DMC. It's like, do we have enough? Anyway, because also pressure. It's like, dude, there's so much pressure when everything. And then at one point, we almost got, it never happened. But I think in hindsight, it was probably good we didn't. But Fat Beats and Raucus offered us an album deal, to do an album and shit like that.
Oh, what?
Right. So, because obviously, X-Men Executioners did Expressions and shit like that, and then and then the Clams of Death and stuff. So it was like it made sense, that we did. But it got to a point where it was just like we were so busy, we were figuring how we're gonna do this, how it just a lot of factors and stuff like that. So that never happened. And I think too, also, it's good we probably didn't, because if we got to that point, I don't know. So I would say for me, my personal humble opinion, the biggest accomplishment that the Junkies have done is that we're still a crew.
Word up.
100.
100%.
Sure.
We're still a crew.
Sure.
Right? And I think if, with seeing all the behind the scenes, what happened with the Pickles and the Executioners and stuff like that, in some ways, and this is my humble opinion, and I could be wrong, because I know everyone has their favorite crews. That like, whether I love the Pickles or I love the X-Men, and we're like kind of like in between, thirds, whatever, like that. But because with the Pickles, they're like known for their scratching, right? And the X-Men are more for rejuggling. We're in between, but we also were doing other, like we encompassed the whole spectrum as DJing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
most well-rounded, man. Most well-rounded.
Yeah. So I mean, that's because all our heroes. If you think about it, you're supposed to make a mixtape, or you're supposed to enter battles. You're supposed to be part of a rap group, or you're supposed to produce, or you're supposed to rock a party and shit like that. That was the thing we came from and stuff like that. So but yeah,
y'all are top billing and all of that. Not to cut you off, but all of those things you mentioned, y'all have all excelled.
Yeah, you guys are all.
Man.
You've touched
I mean,
everything.
I mean, again, all of us, like all of us have our own strong points and shit like that, like, so, I talked to Short about this, like, Short will tell you he can't do all the crazy scratches. Me and Short are just like, we'll just stick to stabbing, transforming and shit.
And he's a god for that. Like,
Yeah. I mean, dude, these crabbing players and shit like that too. But
can you expand on that though? Like, what would you say to any crew out there? Like, what advice would you give for longevity? Like how have y'all kept it together? Because very publicly y'all have kept it together. Like, it looks ironclad, man. It really does. It's an inspiration.
Like any crew, we do have, we have issues within the crew, but what we learn from just not even what happened with Pickles and the X-Men, but also with like just rap groups or just the thing is just like, just don't put, we learned like not to put our business out there. I mean, and if there was,
like, keep it.
Yeah, I mean, there are times we almost, there were some stuff that came out and stuff, but like even if it is, it's like if someone, hey, what happened? I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So it's like that's, just maturing from just learning stuff. I mean,
correct.
Even then too, it's we went through for me personally, I would say is like, there's the Junkies, there's 13 of us, right? So, and just, it's everyone's family in one way or another and stuff. There's no, but as you grow, as you become an adult or whatever, and as an artist, like, and you just realize that sometimes, some people are not going to be on the same page as you, and then you also learn that you kind of you gravitate to the like-minded people, like, so I mean, you see who's like hanging out more or whatever, whatnot, and not to saying that they're not junkies and stuff, but things happen where life happens too as well, like everybody might not be on the same page and stuff like that, and that's growing pains as like not as like siblings or family,
exactly
crew,
exactly
that. So we went through the trenches together, like not only like in like DJing stuff, but like just personal shit, like some of us, like Short and myself, we're Babu's oldest son's godfathers. That's why we're called the Godfathers and shit like that.
That's right.
Ninons, right? So we were in some of us were in Babs's or Mello's or Dee's wedding and shit like that, or or we've as we're getting older, we've been each other's, our parents, whether our parents passed away, their funeral services and shit like that. We've been through together a lot and stuff. So at least some, like everyone's a junkie, no one can take away. But as you grow, some people just tend to gravitate to, because you have the same thing, like some of us have the same dry humor and shit like that, You get all of us together. It's
crazy. I bet it's crazy.
We crack jokes. It's too much sometimes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that, but
it's like it's like that. The whole Beat Junkies thing is like a whole like a fraternity, or like like guys that you went to war with, like like being in the same military. You know what I mean? Like you guys had that bond and the same mutual respect to that you guys don't overstep. Like you guys got each other's back, and that's the way we see it from. And it's very inspiring just seeing you. Like I don't know if you know, but like Skratcher, our crew right now, we're like 13 deep, but we look up to you guys and see like, yo, like we have each other's back. If they got problems with family, they got problems with whatever situation, we got each other to talk to and handle it. Like, just don't put it out there. But I get it.
Keep that business off the street. I always tell the inside of the crew, on the face of it, when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're right. Now we might have a conversation in the car, but it's gonna be in private. You just don't bring that stuff out there. It keeps the bond a lot stronger.
And that's another thing. Sorry to cut you off, but another thing too is like you guys are up there. You guys are heroes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it hurts us watching.
Man, I'm
other
broke,
people.
man. How many, dude? Can I send you beer cans now and shit? I know you guys are giving me compliments. I gotta pay you for all these compliments, but I'm broke now, man.
Could you read? Can we get you up here for our Scratcher celebration annual then? Yeah. Because I would love to.
I bring you on to Seattle.
I would try.
Bring you
I
up
would
to
try.
Seattle.
I would like
You
to.
gotta
So
come
here's
to
the thing too. Is also like on personal. Like I'm my mom's caretaker, so it's all a matter of me just trying to see if I,
Okay.
if it's feasible, if I can.
Yeah.
Rhett, what time you coming back? Are you? Why? I'm a walking joy koi skit, man.
Listen, I promise we will get you up here. We'll send you back with plenty of Vic Sav. We got you, bro. Dial. You know.
Yeah, when we brought up D, he loved it, man. He
loved it.
He brought home a lot of stuff, bringing back home because of.
Give this wife to his daughters and shit. Shout out to D and. Shout out to DML though. Congratulations on their pizza shop.
Pizza joint. Yeah.
They just did a soft grand opening yesterday and Friday. I went there and saw they're doing their official grand openings this Wednesday and stuff. But yeah, man. So
that's dope.
That's dope.
I haven't seen D's daughters. I was like, holy shit. You're what? You're 16. You're what? Wait. I know. I go. Yeah, I know you're like you miss UNLV, but damn, like you're an adult now and shit. Like I'm like, D's like, oh man.
Yo, real quick, OG, are you gonna crowd surf ever again? I gotta know.
Oh yeah.
I gotta know.
Yes.
Oh my god. No.
I gotta know, brother.
Oh, let's go.
Man, that was when I was young, dude. That was
how many of those did you do though? Actually, how many of those did you do? How many?
I
What's the count?
I don't know. Look, I said this on the story on the building better DJs and shit. So how it started.
Oh no!
So
that's one of my favorite episodes, by the way.
Oh, you saw. Okay. Well, that particular episode, that incident was like the last show of the tour, so that happened and shit. But how it started. So obviously by this time, Short and I are roommates and stuff like that, and we're going like, "Oh man, we're fucking dude, like that, right?" And I just said, like, "Man, we gotta do something crazy. Hey, man, let's. Hey, dude, what do we do? Some stage dive and shit like that, like, because we see evidence, from Dilated do it and shit like that, like hey, man." So we were in Washington D.C., right? And I don't know, Short and I were like, dude, we gotta let's go stage dive. Yeah, let's do it. He's like, come on, you're down, Short? Just like, fuck. And then next he goes like, no. What do you mean, no? You do it. Like, why? Come on. You're supposed to do it. Come on, dude. Like, it's like, I'll pay you. It's like, here, I'll pay you. It's like, you pay me? Fuck. What? I don't know. So we're kind of arguing backstage and not arguing, but like, come on, dude. Look at it. So our road managers, the tour managers, Lalo and Francisco, these guys, they're like professional tour managers. They were also tour managing for Jurassic and Dilated too as well.
Okay.
They eventually they were doing like like who they were doing rock bands and shit like that. So they were veterans, but they were the homies too because they were from LA too. So they overheard our conversations. Like, so there's like, if you stage dive, you gotta do, you gotta run sideways and think like that, right? Right. So because like you look at the crowd, find out the like it's like, and then Short is like, yeah, do it. I'm like, man, why don't you do it? He starts and so he goes, here, I'll give you money. Here, like, it's like, all right, dude. All right. So he's like, so he's hyping me up, right? So I had to take liquor courage and shit like that. I'm pacing around the stage like this. Short's like, yeah. yeah. Right? So this is during Dilated People's set. So the last song was Work the Angles. This is the platform, like so it was funny too, because so I'm pacing back and forth trying to like psych myself up. Francisco's like, you go that there, right there, like this, like. So I found this out. So they're going to the last hook. I work the angle, sharpen up the size, dilated people. Babs scratching. I work the angle. That's the place. Then all of a sudden, I start running and shit. Then you see it. Then you're like, I work the angle, sharpen up the size, and they see me like, no. Oh! And then Babs is scratching. He's like, oh! Like that. I did a scratch dive. Run me back and shit like that. And they were like, everybody's like, woo. And then, like Cut Chemist, Charlie 2 Newmark, all of them were like, oh, but what the fuck? Supernatural. He was on tour. Like, Short was like, you did it. At least I kind of remember you like, right? But I was like, fuck, I can't believe I did that shit. And then they're like before the encore. So there's an encore where like everybody comes up, like Jurassic, Dilated, the Junkies, and Cut and Newmark. We do it like a review, like a freestyle review where we're on the turntables and a drum machine, and everyone freestyles and shit like that. But
like a wild style ending.
Yeah, kind of like. But after the show, they're like, yo, and Rocco was telling me, is like, yo, man, I was like, the funny thing is that, Rhett, I seen you pacing back and forth and shit. And then when I saw you running, I thought you were gonna try to stop a fight until I saw you. And then Babs was like, "Yo, how come you didn't tell me you were gonna do this shit?" Dude? And so ever since then, we were on the road for 2 months, and I want to say that was probably that was the halfway point. So
it was a halfway point.
So ever since then, I became part of the Dilated People's stage diving.
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course the last show was in Santa Cruz, I think, or Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, and that's where that story where. Unfortunately, I'm never gonna live that down. Like,
that's brave, dude. That's brave.
When I saw that DVD,
but and ironically, that's when the time when Short stage died finally. He did. His brother was there. His younger brother's there, and he was like, he's like, Kuya. But Short, right? But Short was like, he was hyped, right? And he was like, man, I should have done this a long time. I was like, wait.
It's like, I told you.
I told you.
I was watching that Private Stash DVD and you slowed it down.
They slowed it down. That's all because dude, that was D's direction and right there, just like
that was D. Okay.
Well, so his brother-in-law did he was the one that put the video together, the DVD together and stuff. So I mean, I want to say between I'm gonna say is D and Mel is like, hey man, what do we do? And Babs, because if you have the DVD, there's actually there's a section where there's commentary on it.
Yeah.
Is there? I got it. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to listen to commentary because I'd been like, oh, fuck you guys, man.
Yeah, but that was genius. That was genius when they slowed it down, bro. They put the cherries on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. When I saw that, I was like, oh,
God.
God, dude.
Yeah,
I said, fuck
that's
it.
great.
I go, fuck it. Might as well.
Yeah. I mean, at that point,
Yeah.
Yo, Rhett, I sort of cut you off, but yo, we need to get you back on for a part 2.
Yeah,
we
definitely
need to get part 2. Like,
sorry if I'm long-winded and shit like that.
No, man.
No, this has been amazing.
No, this is. We learned a lot, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was funny as hell, man.
It sounded like a great time.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, dude,
one of my favorite ones, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
look. There's other. I mean, dude, this is. I don't know if this is a reoccurring thing. To this day, everybody mistaken me for Babs. Babu.
Huh? What? No.
All right.
I kid you not.
Yo,
I kid you
what?
not. Dude.
How?
Dude. Well, it's even worse now. What's even worse? Okay, so Baz wears a hat, right? He can't grow facial hair and shit. But what's worse now? He has glasses now and shit. I'm like, fuck.
That's true.
So I mean, there was a time like even like. Okay, I'll tell you this story. This is typical Babs story and shit. Like, dude, this is old. This is Fat Beats Babu. This is Fat Beats. Babs is this guy. Yeah. So, anyways, when we did the '98 DMC USA, right? So, I was at the time like between me and Tommy Gunn. So Tommy Gunn's as a Beat Junkie member, but he was also acting as our manager. He worked at Loud Records and Raucous. He was the one that actually got Sound Bombing too, and shit like that. So I was corresponding with DMC and with the Peoples, and then obviously Tony Prince would be on the I think the email or phone call. I forgot, was there emails during that time? Yeah, I was on AOL. So eventually, when we did the USA, and we said Tony Prince was like, "Dude, there's Tony Prince, right?" So I was the one doing all the coordinating and stuff like that, right? So at the end, Tony Prince comes, finally, we're shaking hands with Tony Prince, and Babs was like, "Dude, Tony, it's so good. Like, we got to finally meet you and da 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 da." And Tony goes, Rhettmatic, it was so great to finally meet you. I'm like, huh? And Babs goes, "Oh, just call me Rhett." Yeah. Yes. I looked at Babs. I'm like, "You fucker."
Yes.
Right? So then then for whatever reason, the next they call, and then the people just started calling me Babu. There are times I'd be like, "I'm not Babu. There are times it's like, "Oh yeah, man, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Yeah, dilated people haven't dropped me. I know they're the schedule. Oh yeah, we're performing at this and this and this. And, just call, just call me Chris. That's Babs' real name. Yeah. But there are times but there are times it's like there's some people say you're Babu. It's like I'm not. You're lying.
You're lying.
Forcing it.
Take the deuce.
Yeah. So for at least 15 to 20 plus years, I've been mistaken for Babu.
Oh my god!
I love that Babs didn't skip a beat with Tony. He was like, "Nah."
Oh, Babs is quick. He's quick, dude. Like
That's it.
Babs is Mr. Dude. If you were hanging out with Babs back then, he's Mr. like
sharp.
Yeah.
Fucking like Mr. He'll bag on you and then like just take it to the.
Keep going.
I was like, fuck you, Babs.
Hey, Rhett. So, what are you currently working on? What can you plug? Let people know what you've been up to right now.
Besides, I said the Visionaries and the Key Cool thing. The Beat Junkies, we're actually doing an album with this cat named Supreme Cerebral, who's part of Planet Asia's crew, Cold Chain Military. So, production by D Styles, Babu, J Rock, and myself. So there's that. Working with Q Unique from the Arsonist, doing a project with them. Doing an EP with Big Twins from Infamous Mob. Working also in works with this cat named Napoleon the Legend. We did an album here called Rhettmatic, so we're doing a sequel to it.
Is that on Perpetual Stew?
Working with Perpetual Stew / Beat Junkie Sound. Okay. Yeah. So nice. I'm crossing my fingers. I might shoot myself for saying this, but I'm trying to hopefully drop some like an instrumental beat tape on in May. Please. So but yeah, just I've done scratches. I tried to, dude. Honestly, the one who's really was busy too, besides Jay, is D. Dude, D is like he's the one that got me really. D's like, because D, if you guys know, D he's done production. He was part of Third Sight, and for a while, and then he was doing and he was also part of Low End Theory, and for a while he wasn't doing shit, right? Just mostly scratch music. and when I was doing, so used to do a radio show called Soundcheck, right? So we used to do it on Dash Radio, and then eventually I did it, and then when the pandemic I did on Twitch, and then D jumped on with me because D started calling me like, "Hey man, what'd you think about Griselda?" I was like, "Word? I thought you stopped listening to rap and shit like that." And he was like,
yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? And I go, when I think about it, with how D is his style of production and music you listen to, like, you know what?
Sick.
It makes sense. So he started doing sound check with me, that we started like talking, hey, you working with this and so. So when he started doing projects, and next he's like, he made me go like, oh, I gotta get my button gear and shit like that, because he's dropping shit left and right.
That's dope.
I mean,
that's dope.
His new joint with Noah the Flood, the Beluga shit is fucking
So good.
Fire,
yeah.
dude.
So
So good.
Yeah.
So and D's always been dope on the beat. He just I mean shit. The first 2 Third Side albums is fucking incredible and shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So, D's got really musicality. Like
I mean, and it's cool because it's like when we did we did an album with the Fly Hooligan, is Babs, D, and myself, and you could see the contrast production styles and shit like that. The same thing when we did when D and I did with XP the Marksman, you can see D's style of production and my style. It's like, but it's all Beat Junkies and shit. Because I like, dude, sometimes I get inspired to do, man, I want to make some dark shit and kill some people with
Yes. The Sith Lord, embrace your inner Sith Lord, man.
Yeah.
You said you were working on scratches. What scratches were you working on? Sorry.
Like I said, for 5 years, I'm still trying to figure out how to do the boomerang.
No,
Boomerangs.
Oh, scratches. I mean, I did scratches on the Talib Kweli J Rawls album. I did scratches. Just released Cy Martial Law with Planet Asia. Who else scratches I'm doing? Yeah, I've been doing. I'm not like D. Dude, scratch hooks and shit is fucking incredible. I always say like, look.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking too much here. Like when I started hanging out with D and he introduced, when he gave me Rhymes Like a Scientist, like, dude, that shit was ahead of its time. He was doing
way ahead.
Dude, he was doing, he was like Premier Q, like that, the way like who'd have thought, like, the first, when you do Rhymes Like a Scientist, all you hear before the rap, he had a scratch, he had his own verse, a whole 64 verse of him just cutting up Eric B and Rakim and shit like that.
Yeah.
Rhymes Like a Scientist, like, dude, it's like, I used to like, fuck, how he does that. I mean, Q was doing already, he did Dr. Octagon, but to me that was the shit. So, and then he did those beats on the EPS 16 and shit like that. So yeah, man. Yeah, D's fucking,
It's crazy.
He slept on and shit. Like, I mean,
yeah,
but like, of course, Babs and then Jay, shit. I mean, I got to say this too. Also, humbly speaking, is like, I'm very lucky to be in a crew like the Junkies and stuff, because all of them push me to become better and stuff like that. Like, sure, I got a lot of favorite DJs, but personally wise, also, it's just my own crew. I don't know if it's like I'm just.
Yeah, that's dope.
Like, to me, like, Jay's one of my favorite DJs, hands down. Just because,
for sure,
dude. Really, on serious, he may not be this, like, you got to think about this, guys. During the heydays of the battle golden areas of turntablism, Jay wasn't, in terms of scratching or juggling, Jay wasn't the favorite. But then when he established himself doing what he does and shit, I mean, he's the father of the Beat Junkie style of mixing and shit like that, dude. That's like
right. His Apache needle top shit.
Yeah, his
fire.
A lot of his stuff too is also in our team routines is because of Jay too, because he would bring the records and like, fuck with this shit and this, try this and stuff like. You know, so the musicality, the musicality. Dude, he can go on any record, any setup, whether it's CD DJs, controllers, turntables, and it can do a lot of things, 45s, whatever, like, and not everything he does is just off the cuff, not even routines. Like, if you're ever watching this thing do is Apache, it's never the same. It's never the same.
Right. And I've seen
Right?
it, yeah.
And he'll come with something like, he'll make a mistake, like
They'll flip it.
And he'll flip it right there. Like that's how, you know, he can go.
Yeah.
He can go on your guys' setup and take any records, not even mark.
Yeah.
I believe
Come
that.
with something.
I believe that. It's
You
like
know,
a
so-
snowflake.
Dude,
Every routine's
yeah.
all different.
I mean, shit,
Before we
yeah.
before we head out, let everyone know where they can find you on online.
Instagram.com/Rhettmatic. I got a Bandcamp page, rhettmatic.bandcamp.com. I actually got a Patreon. I just started a Patreon, but
Okay.
Patreon.com/Rhettmatic. I still have the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I do. But I don't really post on there, but mostly Instagram.
Not active.
It's Twitter.
shit.
Fuck Elon.
Anyways. And then another question though, right before we go, like one question: where can I get that cutout of you at Beat Junkie Studio or Beat Junkie School? Where can I get that cutout like that? I saw it in person for the first time, like this past NAMM. I was like, "Yo, I want to take one home, bro."
We did that for it came from I have a mixtape called the Wedding Mixer, right?
Yes, yes.
And eventually it became a dance party. So shout out to my man Assad, who Footlong Development. He's the one that helped me throws the party. And he said, "Hey man, why don't we do a cutout of you?" It's like, word.
Yo,
I was like, first next, you know, and then luckily then we got we got one of those photos so you can take pictures with the at the dance.
so sick.
So
Yeah, when I was at the school, I got to see it where it was. They had you peeking from like a pole, like hiding right behind a pole.
When they brought it over there, because Babs was like, "Yo, you gotta bring it to the school, man." And it was like, "All right, fine, right?" But because of that, it's funny because like I heard that like the one for the first month and shit, they put it. When they put it there, every time when they come to the school, open up the lights, you're like, "Oh shit!" When they tell me that, and I was like, "That's what you get."
It's so dope, dude. Yo, Rhett, thank you so much for jumping on, bro. Like,
You gotta come back, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta have a
We're gonna get you come back.
I'm honored. Thank you guys. I mean, like,
Thank you so much.
I'm not a scratcher, guys. I suck and shit.
Nah,
What are you
man.
talking
You're
about?
a
The
legend,
fuck you
bro.
talking about?
Come on.
Damn, I'm telling you, I'm broke, man. I can't pay you guys no more and shit. Fuck. I've been paying everybody. It's like, you're a legend. All right, here's $2. Here's $3. I'm tapped out, man.
I'll
We'll just
send
give
a
you
check
my.
Hey, send a check to Babu,
Yeah.
but name it Rhett. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
My PayPal is negative $1 million right now because I've been paying people out too many times. And shit, dude, so,
Thank
but
you
no,
again,
I'm
man.
honored.
you.
Thank you guys.
Happy upcoming birthday.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
your
shit.
birthday's coming up.
Oh shit. God, the fact that you guys know that shit. Damn.
No. This is how I know, because at
Let's
that
go.
West Coast ITF, they said happy birthday, Rhett. And I was like, oh shit, that's my birthday today, May 10th. So I just remembered that shit.
Oh shit!
Share the same
Wait, May 10th
birthday.
is your birthday too?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Salute.
And then like I found out some other people, like Davey D has May 10th, Young MC is May 10th,
Davey D,
DJ Spare.
DJ Utaka.
Okay.
DJ Utaka's May 10th. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Taurus is in the house.
Taurus.
Yep.
Yeah.
So happy early
You
birthday.
drop a lot of
Yeah,
bull.
happy early birthday, man.
Check.
That's dope.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
happy birthday.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Word.
Thank you.
Much
All right.
love.
Yo, this is DJ Rhettmatic, world famous Beat Junkies, Visionary Crew, Cypress Junkies, Rhettmatic, and many crews I'm down with and stuff. And you're checking out live and direct the Skratchers Podcast, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.
Woo!